Hey everyone, welcome to some more fraction work. Today we're continuing our journey along the sums and differences of fractions. So again, remembering sums the answer to a addition problem and differences the answer to a subtraction problem. So really this is the idea of how do we add and subtract fractions, but in this case we've been focusing on mixed numbers. Now one of the things that has been happening specifically in the realm of subtraction. So that's kind of what we're going to actually real focus on is more so the world of differences. There's some same idea applies to sums. It's just we can apply this more so with differences. Is what really starts to happen when we run into these scenarios here. And we're just going to take two mixed numbers, 3 and 1/5, and subtract 1 and 4/5. And so, if we kind of go through what we already know, and again, if I'm ever talking about something that you're like, wait, what? I encourage you to always go back and watch the other videos because there's other videos that talk about these background skills that we're assuming we already remember and know that help us solve this. So in this case, right, step one, are my denominators the same? And yes, they are. So really what that means is I can focus here on my fractions and just say to myself, cool, I got the 5, so my denominator's not going to change. And then I'm going to come up here and I'm going to subtract my numerators. But again, if you look at that scenario, well, I have 1 and I'm taking 4 away. I cannot do that, right? I have 1 and I cannot do that. So that actually doesn't work. So once we catch wind of that, once we notice that, that's where we have been doing, and this is the piece we've been doing next, is thinking about how we decompose and regroup in this scenario. So one thing we've done, and this is how we've solved it before, is I can say, oh, listen, well, I know I have 3 holes. So I'm actually going to take a hole away, leaving me with 2 holes. And that hole, I'm just going to call 5/5 because that's true, right? 5 divided by 5 is 1. It's the same thing. And I'm going to take those 5/5 and I'm going to regroup them into the 1/5. So what that really means is this turns into 2 and 6/5, because again, I just combined my 5/5 here and my 1/5 here to get 5/6. And then I'm subtracting, and now I can go ahead and play that game. Oh, well, yeah, denominators are the same, so I'm gonna slide them over. 6 minus 4, I can do that now. That's 2, and then 2 minus 1 gets me 1, right? So this is gonna give me 1 and 2/5. Now, this is what we've done. So again, this is one of those things where like, if you're like, wait, what, how, huh, who? There are other videos that show this skill that I really encourage you go back and look at and think about. Now, where we're changing this now, right? It's just another style. So sometimes we're like, yeah, this makes sense. I like this. Or, hey, here's something new we can do is we're going to follow another 3-step process in what we can do. And I'm going to use the same problem this time where I have 3 and 1/5, and I'm going to subtract 1 and 4/5. And we can apply this to adding or subtraction of mixed numbers. And it's a 3-step process that looks like this. First, we're actually going to convert our fractions to top heavy. And then 2, we're going to follow the addition and subtraction of fractions. So we'll be checking if our denominators are the same and all that stuff. And then if we need to, we're going to convert our answer back. So let's go ahead and watch what this looks like, right? Step 1, it says to convert to top heavy fractions. So that actually means here, right? I have 3 holes and each hole has 5 pieces each. So that's 3 holes times 5 pieces each. So that's 15 pieces plus 1 more piece. And that's going to get me 16 pieces out of 5. So that's what I did there. I just made an equivalent fraction. 3 and 1/5 is the exact same thing as 16/5, excuse me. Okay, and here I have 1 hole. I think what just happened to my pen. There we go. I have 1 hole and I'm multiplying it by 5 pieces. So 1 times 5 is 5 plus my 4 extra pieces. That gets me 9/5. Now, if you look at this, you see I actually can just follow the rules of subtraction of fractions because I have 16/5, although they're top heavy, and 9/5. The denominators are the same. So I can just slide that over and then just do my math. 16 minus 9 is 7. And now this is the part where we're like, okay, that was step 2. I just did step 2. Now we need to convert this back into a mixed number because you see that this is still top heavy and we don't ever want our answers in top heavy form. So that is telling me here, again, I have, if you want to look at it in terms of a model, I have a model cut into 5 pieces and I need to shade in 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's not enough. So I'm going to make a second model. 6 and 7. And now we see that this is equal to 1 and this is equal to 2 out of 5. So this actually 7 and 1/5 is the same thing as 1 and 2/5. Okay. Now I know one problem, messy screen. What the heck? Let's try this again because that's always how we do this, right? So let's jump in and do another one. So again, what we're doing different this time is we're actually going to convert to top heavy. Okay. And then we're going to follow our rules for adding or subtracting fractions. And then we're going to have to take our answer, maybe not, and convert back to mixed number. Okay. So we'll see. Let's play around. So let's take this next problem. Let's say we have 7 and 2. Did I do fifths last time? I did. Let's not do fifths again. Let's say we have 7 and 2, 6. Just kidding. 7 and 2, 6. There we go. We're subtract 4 and 5, 6. Okay. So again, here's the scenario, right? The first thing I want to do is I'm actually going to convert both of these to top heavy. And again, if that step is something that is missing, go back and watch the video on how to do that so it makes sense. And again, you can see all these steps that we do that come together, right? We do all these things separately, and then we realize how they help us later when we put them all together to solve problems like this. So let's see. So I'm going to convert to top heavy. So I'm going to take 6 times 7, right? That's 6 pieces at 7 holes each. So that's 42 pieces. All right, so I said 6 times 7, that's 42, plus the 2 more. So that means I now have 44 over 6. Same thing, right? These are equivalent. And now I'm going to say 6 times 4 is 24, plus my 5 extra pieces is 29, 6. And now I'm going to follow the rules for adding and subtracting fractions. The number 1 rule, are my denominators the same? Yes, they are. So I'll slide it over. And then I'm just going to subtract here. That's math I have to do over here. I can't just do that in my head. Bottom bigger, regroup. That's a 5. That's a 3. Oh, it gets me 15. Okay. And then again, to get my answer, I have to convert back to a mixed number because this is top heavy. Now, another way we've done that is this is just a division problem, right? This is literally 15 being divided by 6. Well, 2 wholes make 12. That leaves me 3 left over. So that's my leftover. And that means I have 2 wholes and 3 out of 6, which would be my answer. Cool. You know me, we're going to play another one. So again, think about this. If I convert them both to top heavy, then I can just add or subtract, and then I'll just convert them back. And this is why it's important I understand how to convert mixed numbers and top heavy fractions back and forth, because it actually helps me with my subtraction and addition of mixed numbers. So let's do an addition one, play the same game, right? So again, let's put the steps here. We're going to convert to top heavy. We are going to then follow the rules of adding and subtracting fractions. And again, that's something you may want to look up on a video in case you don't remember those. And then we convert back to, to mixed number. Okay, cool. Let's see here. Let's take something like 6 and 3/4, and we're going to add 1 and 1/8. Okay. So now this is where it kind of plays around a little bit. This is cool. This is why I did addition on this one, because I think we can play with this. So step 1, convert to top heavy fractions. Great. So I'm going to go ahead and say I have 6 pieces times 6 holes altogether. Wait, yeah, 4 pieces times 6 holes altogether. I think I said that wrong, which is 24 plus the 3 I have here. So that's 27/4. And I have 8 pieces times 1 whole plus 1 extra piece. That gets me 9/8. Okay. Now let's follow the rules for addition and subtraction of fractions. Rule number 1, are my denominators the same? No, they are not. So now this is where I actually have to go ahead and find that least common denominator. And I'm going to look between 4 and 8. So 4, 8, 12, 16, and so it's 8. Okay, so that means I do not have to make this an equivalent fraction. It already says 8, but I do have to make 27/4 out of 8. So 4 times 2. Again, here's another thing that there's a video about. So if you're unsure of this, 4 times 2 is 8, and 27 times 2. Well, this is going to be big, but I actually don't. What is that? 27 times 2 is 14. And then 54. Okay. So actually 27/4, when I convert it to a equivalent fraction out of 8, is 54/8 plus 9/8. Whew. So again, see what I just did there? I just converted that right there. I turned 27/4 into 54/4 because that's an equivalent fraction. And I did that so that my denominators would be the same, because I can't add or subtract these fractions unless my denominators are the same. I'm going to erase this because I'm going to need some more space. So sorry, I hope you didn't need that. And now that they're the same, cool, slide over that denominator because the pieces don't change, right? The size of the piece doesn't change. And then I have 54 pieces plus 9 pieces, which would be 63 pieces. Ooh, almost done, because this is still top heavy. So now we're going to convert back to a mixed number. See all these cool steps I'm doing? It's just taking a while, no biggie. Let's see. That means I'm doing 63 divided by 8. 8 times 7 is 56. And that leaves me with 7 left over. So I have 7 wholes right here and 7 out of 8. So when you take 6 3/4 and you add 1 1/8, you get 7 and 7/8. And this is how this works. So this is that job there. Again, I can convert to a top heavy fraction. I can then follow the rules for adding and subtracting fractions, and then I convert my answer back into a mixed number if needed. Sometimes it might not be needed. In subtraction, you might actually end up with something smaller than 1, so you won't even have a top heavy fraction, but it will happen, as you can see in all examples we tried today. So as always, I hope this helps you ask questions, rewatch, practice. Know that this is always an exploration, and know that we're always moving to win things. We're not going to learn them right away. So don't worry. If this is the first time you have ever looked at this, right? You've only now known this for 12 minutes of your entire life. So don't put stress on yourself if you feel confused. It's okay. Practice, ask questions until things make sense, and embrace that making mistakes is the greatest ways that we're going to learn. And with that said, as always, we appreciate you and your time. See you next time.